Hey, what's up guys, it's Texmer talking to you here, and today I want to talk about the iPhone XS. This is the XS, but also the XS Max in 2022. I want to take a look at it, see if it's still worth it to buy one. I did a video in 2021 talking about if it was worth it to buy after the release of the iPhone 13s, the 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max, but now that we are at the beginning of 2022, 1 month has passed, January, and now we have got the Samsung S22 Ultra. But of course, there's a lot of new phones and a lot of phones that will be coming out in 2022. But I do still think that the iPhone XS is a great option for people that don't need really that much about a phone. They want an iPhone and they want the iPhone X like design. They want the no bezel treatment, but they are looking at the iPhone 11, the iPhone 12, and they are thinking, I don't like that design. It doesn't look as premium, and so they look back at the iPhone XS instead because it's a flagship phone. It was a flagship in 2018, although it features the A12 and other things that are not as modern or current as the most current phones. The iPhone XS is still a joy to pick up and use. It still feels very incredible, very premium, and so I think that there's still a space on the market for the iPhone XS in 2022, just because it's cheap and still very good. So in this video I will talk about everything that I do like, everything that I don't like in 2022, everything that this phone has and it doesn't have, because there's some stuff that are very important and very crucial nowadays that this phone doesn't have, but I will talk all about it after it. But before we go and start this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all, we are growing. I was so amazed when I saw that we have hit 400 subscribers. Let's go to close for the 500, because when I go to 1,000 that will be the real party. But of course the iPhone XS is a great phone, and before I go, roll the intro. The iPhone XS is an amazing phone. Like I was telling you, it feels very premium in the hand, it feels very light, it feels very comfortable, it's smaller, it has a 5.8-inch display, which is OLED. It was the first generation of OLED. It's not as bright as the newer iPhone Pro models, but it's still very good, still very bright. If I try to show you here, Max Braxton Mitas, the wallpaper still looks very good on the video, and I have this classic XS wallpaper, which is incredible. I love this phone. It has Face ID, it works very well. It's way better than Touch ID, let me tell you, and it has this dual camera design here. It has a telephoto and a wide camera. It doesn't have the ultra wide that was introduced with the iPhone 11, but I do think that having a telephoto, it's more useful than having an ultra wide. After several years using the ultra wide and the telephoto, and my father using the ultra wide and telephoto, and my mother also, I can tell that me, myself, being a tech guy of the family, I use the ultra wide 2 times out of 10. I use telephoto 4 times out of 10, and I use the other cameras 4 times out of 10. But the thing is, my father and my mother, they don't use the ultra wide at all. They don't know it's there, and they just end up using the wide camera. But if you ask them, do you like your telephoto camera? They do know what it is, and they used it because they know they can zoom further without losing quality. And so they used a lot the telephoto camera. They use that 2 times button on the camera phone. When I tell them use the 0.5 or try to use the 0.5, it will look better, they, oh yeah, that's right, and they use it. But if I don't tell them, they won't end up using it. So yes, at the end of the day, although the ultra wide is very, very fun, I do still think that telephoto is the more useful camera. Although from the 13 Pro and Pro Max forward, the ultra wide cameras will be able to do macro photography, so that ends up being even more useful. But I think that the telephoto will reach its full potential when Apple introduces super zoom. But until then, yes, the telephoto, in my opinion, it's more useful than the ultra wide, and so that's one point for the iPhone XS when compared to the iPhone 11, which is around the same price, new right now. But the iPhone XS, I think that it still has another strengths, not talking about the camera, because the camera is not its strongest point, but mainly the design. The design feels way more premium than the iPhone 11, if you ask me. Why? Because it's smaller, more compact than the iPhone 11, and the screen is an OLED screen with smaller bezels. So it feels very premium in the hand, it feels very, very good, and the screen is incredible. In my opinion, better than the iPhone 11, better than the iPhone 12s, well, maybe not the iPhone 12s, because the iPhone 12s have an OLED screen just like this one, but maybe better than the iPhone 11, than the iPhone 10R. And so, yes, the iPhone 10s still has an amazing screen, has Face ID. It's 5.8 inch, which is way better than the 6.1 inch that we have on the iPhone 11. Although the 6.1 inch present on the iPhone 12, it's actually very, very good, and the bezels are very, very small, as small as this. And so maybe the iPhone 10s is not as good as the iPhone 12 in terms of screen size, but the iPhone 12 is around $600, so it's way more expensive than this one that you can find for at least at $300. So yeah, the iPhone 10s has its strengths, like the price. The price tag here is just unbeatable. You can get a glass back design, which is still this design is like $1,000 worth it. If you told me has all the new components and you gave me this design, I will pay for it. Like, this is still $1,000 design. It's very, very premium. It's way more premium than current flagships phones from Android. So I love this feeling in the hand. It's my favorite. Like, I just like to hold it. It's very comfortable. It's small enough for my hand. I can reach the four sides of the screen like Steve Jobs told us. And so this screen is very, very comfortable to hold. It's very comfortable to use. It's very beautiful to look at. And I mean, it's an OLED screen, so you can see here, it's still very good. If it's 60 Hertz, that's the only thing that I don't like about it. But nothing talk about the 60 Hertz, which the iPhone 12 has 60 Hertz, the iPhone 11 has 60 Hertz. You have to pay more than $1,000 to get 120 Hertz. This iPhone only loses in one thing, and that's the camera. Yes, the camera on this phone has the wide camera and the ultra wide camera. This is the generation before Apple take the biggest leap ever, in my opinion. The iPhone XS to the iPhone 11s. The iPhone 11s featured the new wide camera, which was bigger and better. It took in way more light, and so it enabled night mode. That's the biggest weakness of the iPhone XS. It doesn't have night mode. Although I have some apps that can solve that issue, it doesn't work that great. It doesn't have Apple's algorithm, and so the night mode here, it's really, really bad. At night you can't take any type of photos, shoot any type of videos, and although the HDR here is really, really good during the day, during the night the photos are very weak, they're not great, and they are barely usable. So yeah, it's not that great. So if you really care about the camera side and you are decided between the iPhone 11 or the iPhone XS, then there's no choosing between, because the iPhone 11, although it has an LCD screen and is a little bit more expensive, it has night mode and it has a way better camera system. Not talking about the telephoto versus ultra wide fight, because in that discussion, I mean, I talked about before, I do think that the telephoto is more useful than the ultra wide, but at the end of the day, the iPhone 11 upwards had night mode. This phone doesn't. So if you are looking to spend $300, $400, $500, go for the iPhone 11 if you do really care about the cameras in 2022. But if you don't really care about the cameras, you just want to take some pictures for social media, and those you will end up taking in good lighting because no one takes bad lighting photos for social media, then, I mean, go for the iPhone XS. It works very well. Instagram is very well optimized for the iPhone XS, and every iOS in general has every good app. It has access to the App Store, FaceTime, iMessage. It costs $350, $300. You can find those refurbished, used. It's way cheaper than the iPhone SE new. Don't buy the iPhone SE. The iPhone SE sucks. So if you really, really like these types of phones, don't forget, go for the iPhone XS. This is a great option. Other things that are not that great from the iPhone XS compared to the current iPhones are the speakers, because Apple has evolved a lot on the speaker game. Since the iPhone 11, the speakers on the iPhone have been getting even better every single year. And so you will notice the differences when using the iPhone XS speakers. My God, these guys cannot make any more noise with that motorcycle. Really, God damn it. Backing up again to the iPhone XS. The speakers are not that great. I mean, they are good compared to Android phones. They are very, very good compared to other iPhones, especially on this price range like the iPhone 11. I don't think they are the best. I mean, they are good. They are not the best. The iPhone 11 has better speakers because they have bigger speakers. Because it's a bigger phone, it can handle bigger drivers. The iPhone XS has good speakers, but when you try to put them in a very high volume, they will end up sounding like teeny and not that great. So yeah, the speakers are not the best, but really cares about the speakers when you have this amazing design and amazing system, and you only want to pay $350. We cannot forget here that the price now of the iPhone XS, it's very, very low. So it's very accessible for people to go and buy this phone instead of buying the iPhone SE. If you want to compare this phone against the iPhone SE, which is the true comparison that you will need to make, then surely this phone is way better. It has two cameras, the iPhone SE has one. It has an OLED display, the iPhone SE has an LCD display. This has no bezels, the iPhone SE has a ton of bezels. This has Face ID, the iPhone SE doesn't, has Touch ID. This has the A12, the iPhone SE has the A13, which is a little bit better than the A12. You won't notice any differences. So yes, the iPhone XS, for the price that it is right now, it's still worth it in 2022. And let me tell you, it's not just worth it, it's way worth it. One thing that is not also great here, and it's a little bit better on the iPhone 11, but it starts to show its age, it's the battery life. Tell me, if you can find an iPhone XS with a good battery health, even though you can find one, the battery will be bad, like 3 hours a bit bad. You will be able to use it as bad as the iPhone SE, maybe like it will last you half a day, 3/4 of the day until you need to charge. I used this phone for a week in September before the iPhone 13 Pro came out, and I sold my iPhone 12 Pro. I was using this phone for a week, and let me tell you, I had to charge it twice a day. The battery life was bad, but by the end of the week I was almost used to it, so I really didn't care about it. I just need to make sure that I was optimizing by usage for this battery, and I just needed to make sure that I had a charger lying around. But I mean, that's the only real weak point about the iPhone XS. That's the battery life. The battery life is not great. I mean, it's small. It's a small phone. It's a 5.8-inch display, but the phone is smaller, a little bit bigger than the iPhone 8's design, so it has a little bit better battery life than the iPhone SE, but it's not that great. Also, one thing that I have to point out, because there'll be a lot of people on the comments down below talking about it, it doesn't have 5G. I mean, who cares about that? No one cares about 5G. I have 5G on the phone, on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I use it sometimes, don't notice any differences. The only difference that I notice is my battery life going to hell with, if I had this phone with 5G, God, that would be bad. But 5G was only available from the iPhone 12 onwards, so you will have to spend more than $600 to get one, at least until March, when Apple releases the iPhone SE 5G, which will be having a $399 and a real poor battery life. But this iPhone XS, it's great. I advise you, if you want to buy one, just careful with your battery. You will be surprised how bad it is. And if you go look for one which is used or renewed, go look for one that has a good battery health, because ask the people that you are buying from which is the battery health, because less than 90% this phone is almost unusable. Let me check how the battery life here on this phone is. Go to settings, battery, state of battery, it's 82. It's not that great. It's actually really bad, and it lasts me, let me tell you, 3 hours. 3 hours. So if you have a 90% battery life out of this phone, maybe you will be able to go to the end of the day if you're not a power user, but it's not good battery life. It's really poor battery life. So that's the two weaknesses of the iPhone XS in 2022, night mode and the camera performance, and of course the battery life. One thing that you will be surprised of is the video quality. Let me try to show you here. That's the video quality of the iPhone XS. I mean, it's not that bad. This is my ring light. This is my iPhone. This is how I'm recording. I would like to switch it. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here I am. iPhone XS with good studio lighting. I mean, it's not that bad. It's great. It's not that good when compared to my iPhone XS. Battery life, it's not that good when compared to my iPhone XS's camera. It's not that good when compared to my iPhone 13 Pro Max. Camera and video quality, but it's great. It's usable if you want to make some videos for social media, stories, maybe for Instagram. It's good. So this is the quality. As you can see, this is my video test for the video. So it's great. You will be able to use it. Don't worry. Then you have the front camera quality. I mean, with using this studio lighting that you have here, let me take a selfie. Let me see how it looks. And then you have the quality with not the front camera. So let me try to take another picture. So, I mean, they look great. Under this studio light, they look amazing. So yeah, you won't notice a lot of trouble using the camera with very good lighting. So yeah, this is the best phone you can handle and the best iPhone you can buy for the price that it is right now. But I mean, if you can get a little bit extra and spend a little bit extra, I would advise you go for the iPhone 12. Though, if you don't like the new squared off design and you like very much about this size, then yeah, the iPhone XS is definitely the best option for you on the market, especially if you have less than $400 to spend on an iPhone. Then this ends up being the only option, because the iPhone SE, in my opinion, it's terrible. terrible value because the design is very old, very, very old. The only thing that it has up to the iPhone XS is the better processor, and even though that it's an A13 against the A12, so the differences will be minor. If you want to know how the iPhone performs on a synthetic benchmark, then the iPhone XS got 400,939 on Antutu benchmark. So at the end of the day, if you are looking to buy the iPhone SE, don't buy the iPhone XS, because this is the way better value when compared to that phone. But if you are looking for the iPhone 11, you have to ask yourself which things do you prioritize on your iPhone, the display or the cameras. If you like the display most, then the iPhone XS is still the option for you. If you do really care about the cameras, then you should go for the iPhone 11 just because of night mode and the ultra-wide camera, which is fun, but not the better deal when compared to the telephoto on this one. But what are your thoughts on the iPhone XS in 2022? Do you have one? Are you using one? Do you have the XS Max? That's also great. The battery life there, it's way better, but the differences are minor between these two phones. And also, let me know in the comments down below, will you buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max from the iPhone XS, or are you waiting for the iPhone 14? Let me know in the comments down below there. And while you're there, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all for your support. This was Tex talking to you here. Bye.